Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Go Global with French webinar presented by French Oracle Online Language Institute. Before I start, I'm going to give you a brief breakdown of our organization, the French Online Language Institute. About the French Online Language Institute, the French Online Language Institute is a subsidiary of Share Concept registered under the Corporate Affairs Commission. Our online French institute is dedicated to guide and mentor students towards the attainment of French speaking fluency. Our teaching methodology and approach are tailored to meet the diverse learning needs of our students. At French Oracle, our classes are organized and arranged in a flexible manner to fit the busy schedule of our diverse learners. Now, I'm going to delve into the various international uh, French exams. So I'm going to be starting with the DELF-DAF examination. But before that, I'm going to give you a brief highlight of what you should be expecting on today's presentation, what you should be expecting, the presentation outlines. So first of all, in today's presentation, first of all, we'll talk about the DELF-DAF exams. Then after talking about the DELF-DAF exams, I'm going to talk about the meaning and explanation of each independent diploma and level of DELF-DAF exams. Then the third thing I'll be talking about is the learning path and objective of each level, what you intend to learn from each level, the learning objectives of each level. Then the next thing I'll be talking about is the DELF for elementary and secondary learners, international French exams for Canada relocation and immigration, immigrating to France through the study route, relevance of French as a business professional, relevance of French as a development professional. And last but not the least, I will also talk about getting a job in a Francophone country. Now, the first thing is the DELF-DAF exams. Now, what is DELF-DAF? What is DELF-DAF? DELF-DAF are diplomas awarded by the French Ministry of Education to prove and demonstrate the French language skills of non-native French speakers. The agency, French Education International, are the one in charge of issuing the certification. And these diplomas are globally and internationally recognized. Anywhere in the world, anywhere you present the certificate, it is internationally accepted. Now, the next slide is a further explanation into the DELF-DAF examination. Now, for the DELF-DAF, there are 6 independent diplomas corresponding to the 6th level of the Council of Europe. Council of Europe's Common European Framework of References for Languages. And these diplomas include the A1, we have the A1 level, we have the A2 level, we have the B1 level, we have the B2 level, we have the C1 level, and the C2 level. So these are 6 independent diplomas. And according to your level of French, you can decide to sit for any level you want. You can decide to sit for A1, you can decide to sit for A2, depending on your level. It's just for you to certify and test your level of French language. Now, the 6 diplomas that make up the DELF-DAF are completely independent. They are completely independent. Like I was saying before, they are completely independent. It simply means that you can sit for any level, sit for any level of the examination based on your own capability or based on your own level of French. So the 6 diplomas that make up DELF-DAF are completely independent. This simply means that candidates can register and sit for examination of their choices based on their what? On their level. Now, at each level, At each level that make up the DELF exams, four skills are usually evaluated, four competencies are usually evaluated in this delve in the different, no matter the level, be it delve A1, delve A2, four competencies are tested at these various levels, and they are listening. We have listening, we have speaking, we have reading, and what writing. Okay, we have listening, speaking, reading, and what writing. Each level are usually assessed or are usually evaluated with varying degree of expectation and objective. And based on the six independent diploma that make up the DELF-DAF, for DELF-DAF exams, we have the A1, the A2, and the B-Do. While for DAF exam, we have C1 and C2. That's for the DELF. For the diplomas or levels under DELF. For DELF, we have the A1, we have the A2, we have the B1 and the B2. Okay. Why DALF, which is the advanced level, we have the C1 and we also have the word C2 under DALF. Okay. Now, I'll delve into the explanation of, of each level under the DELF-DAF exam, the meaning and explanation of each of the independent diplomas and level of the DELF-DAF exams. Now, the first one is the A1 and the A2. The A1 and the A2, this simply signifies that you are a basic user. You're a beginner, you're a basic user of the language. You're a basic user of the language. You can use the language to express not too complex ideas. You can use the language to express basic ideas that are not complex in nature. So the A1 and the A2, like I said, simply means that that you're a basic user of the language. Now for the B1 and B-Do, it simply means that you are an intermediate user. It simply means that you are an intermediate user of the language. Okay, you can engage in conversation with a little bit of spontaneity. You can engage in conversation. You can produce and compose complex basic ideas, complex ideas using French language, and you can actually communicate with francophone with a little bit of with francophone users with a little bit of spontaneity. Now, the next one is the C1 and the C2 level. It simply means the proficient user. It simply means the advanced user of the language. It simply means you are an advanced user of the language. You're a proficient user of the French language. Now I move to the next one, which is the learning part. The learning part. What are the learning parts? The learning part and objective of each level. The learning part and objective of each level. Now, for the A1, which is the basic user, at this level, these are the things you will be learning. These are your learning parts. These are what you expect, what you're expected to learn at that level. At that level. Now, the first one is understanding and use of common expression and basic phrases aimed at satisfying basic needs. Okay, so you'll be able to use common expressions to express common expressions to express basic ideas. You use French, you will be able to use French language, to compose or to express basic ideas, just to satisfy basic communication needs. Now, the next item I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to elucidate about, is with this level, you can introduce yourself and others, ask and answer questions about personal details, such as where you live, people you know, and things you have. Okay, let me repeat myself. For this, for this second one, you can introduce yourself. That's you can talk about yourself in French. You can answer questions in French. Talk about your personal details, things that has to do with you in French. Where you live, for example, where you live, people you know, and things that you have. These are the things that you can be able to say at this level. That you can able to use the French language to express at this word level. You can utilize the French language to communicate these things at this word level. Now, interact in a simple way, provided the other person talks slowly. So at this point, you're not expected to be fast in your communication. You're expected to be picking the word. You're expected to communicate, but not to communicate in a very fast manner. Okay. So interact in a simple way, provided the other person talks slowly and clearly and is prepared to help. So at this level of being a basic user of the language, you're not expected to use the French language in a rapid way. Okay, you're expected to express yourself slowly. You're expected to speak slowly. You're expected to express yourself slowly and clearly as well. Okay. So now the next level I would elaborate upon is the A2. The A2 level is also the basic user level as well. The A2 level is also the beginner level as well, the basic user level. Now, at this level, these are the things you'll be able to do. These are your learning paths. These are your learning objectives. These are the things you would learn at this level. So if you're learning French at this level, if you're enrolled for an A2 class, for instance, these are the things, these are the level of proficiency you're expected to attain. Now, understand sentences understand sentences and frequently use expression related to areas of most immediate relevance. Okay, so you're expected to understand sentences frequently used in expression related to areas of most immediate what relevance. Okay. So you can express very basic personal information. You can also express basic ideas, and but in a broader way. Okay. You can also express these ideas and talk about different things. You can talk about different things. Okay, as a basic user. Okay, you can talk about other things like local geography, employment, shopping, with a basic usage, with your basic knowledge of the language. Now, the second one is communicate according to simple routine tasks, requiring simple direct exchanges of information on familiar and routine matters. This one simply means that you can actually discuss things, exchange information, using basic French sentences, using basic French languages, not too complicated French. You can use your basic French to exchange information. Okay, to exchange information, to exchange familiar ideas in French. So, like I say, the A2 level simply means basic users. And what I've just talked about are the things that you'll be able to use French, use your basic knowledge of French to actually do or to actually achieve or express. Now you have the B1 and intermediate user level, intermediate user. The B1 simply means intermediate user, the intermediate user. Now, at this level, what will you be able to do at this level? At this level, what will you be able to do? Now, the first thing you'll be able to do is, first of all, understand the essential points of clear standard inputs on familiar matters regularly encountered in work, school, and leisure. So at this point, your French will be a little bit higher. You're expected to go a little bit higher in your French, and even in your expression, you're expected to attain a higher level of French, an intermediate level of French. You're no longer at the beginner level, but at the intermediate level of French. So you'll be able to say things with a little bit of spontaneity. Now, deal with most situations likely to arise whilst traveling in an area where the language is spoken. So, like I said, for the intermediate user, you're expected at this level to be able to communicate and stir up basic communication, stir up basic conversation, deal with most communication situations, likely communication situations that may arise in a francophone setting. Okay, you'll be able to communicate in a francophone setting. You'll be able to uh, um, stir up basic conversations, engage in engage in normal conversations within a francophone setting, deal with most conversational situation within a francophone environment or setting. Now, the next one is produce and compose simple connected text on topics which are familiar or of personal interest. So at this stage, you should be able to engage in conversation in French. You'll be able to contribute in conversation, engage people in conversation. Now, at this point, you'll be able to discuss on topics, and make contribution, express ideas in those topics, express French ideas in those topics. Okay, express French ideas, communicate French ideas based on those topics. So if you're able to put up, share your experience, make contributions to topics in French, okay, especially topics which are familiar to you, or of which are of personal interest to you. So you should be able to use your intermediate level of French to contribute to topics, to engage in conversations, to talk about things in French. Now, you should be able to use your intermediate level to also describe your experience, describe events, describe hope, express ambitions. So with that intermediate level of French, you should be able to express events, discuss events, express your dreams, express your hopes, express your ambitions, and briefly give reasons and explanation for your opinions and plans. Okay, not only expressing those events, you should also give reasons why you described an event in a particular way. You should also give reasons why you have specific ambitions. You should be able to compose these things, and compose these things using the right word expressions in French as an intermediate user. Okay, now we have the BDO level. The BDO level is also the user, but it's a little bit higher. Okay, the other one is like a lower intermediate. Why the BDO is like an upper intermediate level. Okay, so at this level, you'll be able to do the following. Okay, you should be able to understand main ideas of complex text. Now, you should be able to analyze text. You should be able to explain text. You should be able to explain text. Okay, understand main ideas of a text and explain them. Okay, on both concrete and abstract topics, including technical discussion in your field of specialization. So you should be able to discuss. You should be able to discuss ideas. You should be able to contribute to arguments in French, express ideas, put forth arguments in French, hold strong conversations in French as an advanced intermediate user, because the BDO implies an advanced intermediate and upper intermediate user of the French language. Okay. Now, the next one is interact with a degree of fluency. So at this point, you should be able to interact with a certain degree of fluency and spontaneity that makes regular interaction with native speakers significantly possible without strain for either party. So at this point, you should be able to discuss with a certain degree of fluency, because this is an advanced intermediate level. So you should be able to discuss, hold conversation with a certain degree, not a full degree of fluency, but at least with a certain degree of fluency and spontaneity that would make it possible for you to hold conversations with native speakers, to converse with native speakers, okay? To significantly converse with native speakers without any strain from either party. Now, the next one, you should be able to create ideas, compose clear ideas, detailed text on a wide range of subjects, and explain a viewpoint. So you should be able to express a viewpoint on a particular issue, put up your opinion, express a perspective in French on a particular topical issue. Engage in conversation, put forward your argument, express ideas that support your argument, talk about your experience, use as an advanced intermediate user to support or put forward an argument for a particular subject matter, on a particular issue. Okay, and in explaining your viewpoint, you should be able to express, or in expressing your viewpoint in a particular subject matter, you should be able to talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of the various options. Okay, talk about the advantages and the disadvantages. Okay, of of what you're talking about. Now, the next one is the C1, which is the C1 level, which is the proficient user. The C1 level, which is the proficient user, which is what? The proficient what? User of the language. Now, at this level, you will be able to do the following, okay? Understand a wide range of longer text and recognize implicit meaning, okay? Understand a wide range. So you'll be able to understand a wide range of longer texts, a very, very longer text, wide from different fields. At this point, you'll be able to understand text from different domains, from different field of endeavors, and you'll be able to analyze and understand these texts. Now, the next item is you'll be able to express yourself more spontaneously without obviously searching. So without looking for expression or finding for expression, you'll be able to express yourself without obviously maybe searching, trying to connect the dots, trying to connect your ideas, trying to look for expressions that will help you to connect those ideas, express those ideas. You'll be able to express yourself with great spontaneity. You'll be able to express yourself with great spontaneity, and you'll be able to express your ideas in French more fluently at this level as a proficient user of French. Now, the next level is the the C2 level, which is also the proficient user, but a proficient a native speaker. So you're expected to exhibit express yourself at a native speaker level, because the C1 level is like a near native speaker level, but the C2 level is a is a native speaker level. Okay, you are expected to communicate like a native speaker of the language, expected to communicate as a native speaker. Now, at this level, you should be able to do the following. Now, the first one is understand with ease. You should be able to understand with ease, virtually everything read or heard. Okay. Then summarize information from different spoken and written sources, reconstructing arguments and accounts in a coherent presentation. So you should be able to reconstruct, you should be able to present your ideas in a coherent way, in a clear and coherent way, both spoken and written sources. So you should be able to summarize different information, reconstruct arguments in a coherent, in a more coherent way, in a more organized way, coherent and organized way, as a native speaker of the language. Now, again, you should be able to express yourself spontaneously, very fluently, precisely, and you should be able to differentiate, you should be able to make finer distinction in terms of the different shades of meaning in most complex communicational situations. So you should be able to differentiate the different shade, the different nuances in terms of meaning in most complex communicational word situation. So you should be able to understand in a greater degree the diverse nuances in expression, the diverse shades of meaning in most complex text or in most complex situation of communication. That is for the C2 proficient user, which I describe as the native speaker level, while the C1 is the mere native speaker level. Now, delve for elementary and secondary learners. Delve for elementary and what? Secondary learners. So we have the first category, the Delve Prim. So the Delve Prim is for elementary school learners, while the Delve Junior is for secondary school. So those that are secondary school can enroll for the Delve Junior, while those in elementary can actually register and enroll for Delve Prim exam. Now, for adult learners, for grown-up learners, they have the Delft DAF 2 public. Now, Delft DAF 2 public simply means is generally open. It simply means Delft DAF general. It simply means Delft DAF general. So this one is strictly and specifically for adults. It's for what? Adults. While the Delft Junior is for secondary school learners, the Delft Prim is for what? Elementary school learners. Now, the next one is international French exams for Canada relocation and immigration, especially for those that will want to, that have plans, that have goals, that have plans and goals for to relocate to Canada. Those that are planning to relocate to Canada and have plans to migrate to Canada. We have two exams that would make that possible, that will make it possible for you to immigrate to Canada through the French category of the Canada Express entry. We have the TEF and the TCF. Now, the TEF and the TCF are internationally recognized tests created and designed to measure French language proficiency. The two international French exams are endorsed by the French Ministry of Education, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship, Canada, aimed at non-native French speakers wishing to assess their level of French. So these exams are aimed at non-native French speakers, those that did not, especially for those that did not grow up or maybe had their education in an institution where French was used as a medium, where French was used as a medium of what? Instruction. So it is aimed at those category of people. So it's aimed at the non-native French speaker, which is to assess their level of what? French. Now, also for the TEF and TCF, these are also exams um, designated for those who intend to migrate to Canada through the French category of the Canada Express entry. So if you intend to migrate to Canada, if you intend to move to Canada through the French category of the Express entry, if you intend to increase and boost your chances or increase your CRS score in the Express entry pool, you can actually go for these exams. Either you go for the TEF or you go for the TCF exams. Now, the next one is immigrating and relocating to France through the study route. How immigrating and relocating to France through the word study route. Okay. Admission into higher education in France requires a demonstration of French language proficiency. Okay. Either through a degree from an institution where French is used as a medium of instruction or through an internationally recognized French diploma, such as the Delft DAF, okay? So either you demonstrate your French language proficiency through through having a degree from an institution where French was used as a medium of instruction, okay, as a language of instruction, or through an internationally recognized French diploma, such as the Delft DAF what? Exams, such as the Delft DAF exams. Okay. Now, in details, let me explain in details. Now, the minimum of Delft B-Do is required for admission into bachelor's degree programs that are taught in French. So in most French universities, in most degree programs or bachelor's degree programs that are taught in French, Okay, a minimum of del Pito is required for admission, especially if that program is taught in French. Now, the minimum of DAF C1 is required for graduate programs, especially for master's programs or PhD programs that are taught in French. Now, if you're already residing in France, for instance, or you're already residing in France, or through from your study, you intend to stay permanently, and through staying permanently, you want to become a citizen of France, your Del B1 is required for applying for French citizenship. So Del B1 is one of the requirements for applying for French citizenship. Now, I'm going to be discussing the relevance of French as a business professional. So, what is as a business professional, as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner? What is the benefit of French? How do you benefit from having the knowledge of French? How would that be beneficial to you as a business person, as a business professional, as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner? How can learning a second language be of benefit to you? Now, the first thing I'm going to make outline here is French can be used as a linguistic tool for a wider reach and expansion into Francophone countries. Business professionals can leverage on the learning and use of French as a linguistic tool for globalization and international relations. Okay, so business professional can leverage on the learning and use of French as a linguistic tool. So it can be used as a tool for globalization and international relation. So it can be used as a tool to expand. It can be used as a tool to expand your reach, to move into other francophone countries. It can also be used as a tool for cross-cultural collaboration, for business collaboration with personnel from other francophone environment or from other francophone countries. So it's a linguistic tool for globalization and what international world relations. Now, it enhances cultural understanding and cross-cultural communication of individuals from Francophone and Anglophone backgrounds. So it enhances cultural understanding because in learning a language, you're learning about the people, you're learning about the culture, you're learning about the society, okay, you're learning about the food. So once you're learning a language or once you have learned a language, it enhances your cultural understanding and it also enhances cross-cultural communication, okay? Cross-cultural communication of individuals from Francophone and Anglophone backgrounds. So someone from Anglophone background who have learned French, you'll be able to communicate with someone from a Francophone society or from a Francophone country using your French word knowledge. And that other person from an Anglophone from a Francophone background will also be able to learn English language from you as well, thereby fostering cross-cultural communication of individuals from Francophone and Anglophone backgrounds. Then the next one, it will help you achieve your goals of relocating to Canada or France. So learning French can be the first step, okay? And enrolling for the French class can be the first step on your journey of relocation, okay? You can start your journey of relocation, start your journey of achieving your relocation dreams by learning a foreign language, by learning a French language. French language, which happens to be the second most spoken language in the world. And it also happens to be the working language, one of the working language of the United Nations organization. Most multilateral organizations use French language as a working language, okay, as a language of communication, as a working language. Okay, so learning a second language or learning French can be that one step towards achieving your your plans or your goals of relocating to either Canada or France. Now, relevance of French as a development professional. Relevance of French as a development professional. Okay, what are the relevance? How beneficial is learning French to you as a development professional? what are the benefits of learning French as a development word professional or as a professional in the field of development or as a development worker? How does that benefit you as a development worker? Okay, as a humanitarian worker, how does that benefit you? Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is it enhances your ability to function and communicate in a francophone environment. It enhances your ability to function and communicate in a francophone environment. So the learning of French language, the knowledge of French language would facilitate the ease of communication. For instance, you're asked to implement a project and you happen to find yourself in a francophone country, okay? Your knowledge of French will help you as a development worker to facilitate your ease of communication among the locals, so ease of communication within a francophone setting or within a francophone environment. Now, the next one is that it grants you access to global opportunities and international jobs. It grants you access to global opportunities and international jobs. Now, within the field of development, there are a lot of jobs, there are a lot of opportunities that require the knowledge of French. Okay? That requires a knowledge of French. So you as a development professional, if you now combine your development professional skill and having a French knowledge, it gives you that competitive edge. It grants you access to that particular job opportunity. You'll be able to secure that job opportunity as a development professional because you already have the knowledge of French. So that is how French becomes beneficial to you as a development professional, as a professional in the field of what development. So, for instance, there's a job in the UN and you have all the requisite experiences. In addition to that requisite experiences and competencies, you now have the knowledge of French. You now know French. You're now proficient. You now have one of the certifications in international certification in French language. It gives you a competitive edge because certainly they are going to take that person. They're going to take that person that has French language proficiency over the other development professional who have little or no knowledge of French. Okay, so it grants you access to global opportunities and international jobs. Now, the knowledge of French enhances your profile as a development professional and boosts your competitive advantage over other professionals who don't have the knowledge of French. The knowledge of French enhances your profile as a development professional and boosts your competitive advantage over other professionals who don't have the knowledge of French. Okay, for instance, you're in the field of development, or you're in the field of 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 um humanitarian coordination, or you have a development in a project by your NGO in a francophone country, or there's a position in a francophone country, and they need a development professional. Certainly, they are going to be looking for a development professional who have the knowledge of French, who is both bilingual, who is both fluent in English and in French. So they are going to look for a development professional who is both fluent in English and in what? French. So you as a development professional, having that French knowledge has already put you at a competitive edge over other professionals who do not have any demonstration of French language proficiency or who do not have any knowledge of French at all. So you as a development professional, in addition to your development professional skills, having French knowledge or having a certification to show your French language proficiency will certainly boost your international profile and give you a competitive edge for jobs within the development sector that requires a certain level of French language proficiency or that requires someone that is bilingual, so somebody that can speak both English and French. Now, the next one is the knowledge of French enhances your cultural understanding and competence. The knowledge of French enhances your cultural understanding and what? Competence. It enhances your cultural understanding and competence. So what I mean by it enhances your cultural understanding and competence, it makes you culturally sensitive. It makes you culturally sensitive, okay? Because in the process of learning the language or being among the francophone people, you're already engaging in their culture. Since language is part of culture, In the process of learning the language, you're learning you're learning about the people, you're learning about their worldviews, you're learning about their society, you're learning about you're learning about their food, you're learning about their dance, you're learning about their music. Okay, so it's all encompassing. So learning a particular language it enhances your cultural understanding. It enhances your cultural understanding, and it also enhances your cultural competence. It enhances your cultural competence and knowledge of that specific society. Okay, it enhances your cultural competence, it enhances your knowledge of that specific society. It enhances your chances of relocating to a French-speaking country or relocating to Canada. So the knowledge of French enhances your chances because it is when you know French, it is when you know French or made the adequate attended classes or made adequate preparation through attending classes that you will now be able to fulfill your relocation dreams by sitting for the necessary exams that would help you in achieving that, sitting for the necessary international French exams, such as the TCF and TEF Canada, that would enable you to achieve your relocation plans of migrating to Canada through the express entry route or through the French category of the Canada express entry. Now, the next thing I will talk about is getting a job in a francophone country, getting a job in a francophone world country. Now, irrespective of your field of endeavor and expertise, getting a job in France or any other French-speaking environment or country would require a considerable knowledge of French or a proof of French language proficiency. So, irrespective of your field of endeavor or expertise, getting a job in a French-speaking environment or any other French-speaking country would require a considerable knowledge of French. Well, it will certainly require a considerable knowledge of what? French. Okay? Considerable knowledge of French. And maybe through studying in a country where French was used or spoken or used as a language of instruction, or or you show that through a proof of French language what proficiency, okay, such as the DELF-DAF examination. So I read again, irrespective of your field of endeavor and expertise, getting a job in France or any other French-speaking country will require a considerable knowledge of French or a proof of French language proficiency through DELF-DAF what exams. Okay, so getting a job in any francophone country, irrespective of your field of endeavor. For instance, if you're in the tourism sector, if you're in the tourism and hospitality industry, and if you want to and you want to work internationally, you certainly need to have a certain level of French. Okay, certainly need to demonstrate your French language word proficiency. You certainly need to be bilingual. You certainly need to have the knowledge of French and English for you to work in the tourism industry, in the hotel industry, in the hospitality industry, in other industries, irrespective of your industry. If you want to break into into francophone countries or into French-speaking setting environments, you certainly need to have that knowledge of French as a professional. Now, also as a professional in any field, learning French could be that one thing, could be that one thing you need in order to achieve your relocation goals, in order to achieve your relocation plans, in order to achieve your goals of relocation, okay, to either Canada or France. Also, learning French and getting certified will enhance your competitive edge. Like I mentioned in the previous slide, will enhance your competitive edge among other professionals in your industry and set you up for global success. 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 Okay? And set you up for global success. So, at this point, I'm going to thank you all. I'll be thanking you all for listening. Thank you all for listening. And thank you all um, for listening to this pre-recorded webinar on Go Global with French, on the team Go Global with French. Thank you very much. And au revoir et merci beaucoup tout le monde. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.